Hi there, and welcome to Begin the Book on Your Bucket List, Part 1, Create Your Book's Plan. I'm Allie, and I run The Right Place, Right Time as a professional writer and ghostwriter, writing coach, and I love working with people on getting their books going. I love this beginning stage where people have this idea that they want to write a book and they have a little itty bitty inkling of what that book is about, but they haven't quite filled out the entire vision of what the book is. Now, that's not to say that I don't work with people after they get beyond that stage to actually help them with the writing and development of the manuscript, but I really love this early incubation stage where the idea is just beginning to blossom. A lot of people will think about writing a book for months or years by the time they actually have a chat with me. And what comes up for them is that they don't know where to start. Of course, why would you know where to begin if you've never written a book before? And even those of us who have written a book before, at one point hadn't written a book before, because anytime we do anything, we always have to start off with that first attempt. So they want to know, how do I get going? So the very first thing that I like to say is that we need a plan. Now, in the writing world, there are two different types of people, or at least that's what we like to say as writers. There are plotters and there are pantsers. Plotters are people who plot their story before they begin. Pantsers sit down at the computer and fly by the seat of their pants without a plan and only small amounts of information, or maybe even really big visions that they've never written down before. I happen to be a plotter. I like to map out the entire work, but I don't just like to do that. I also like to have a much bigger idea of what my book is about. Not just the individual chapters and characters and scenes and what exactly is happening. I want to know who is my audience. I want to know what is my motivation for telling this story. I want to know where am I thinking it's going to sit in the shelf at the end of the day. All of these things are important in understanding your book because a book is a long game. Okay. Oh, and here's my cat. She always likes to jump in the middle of these videos. So a book is a long game. So you really want to have an understanding of all of the parts and pieces of your book before you get going. It makes it easier. Not only can you understand how the manuscript's going to develop and the way that it's going to get written in the long run, but you also have a way of understanding, once the book is written, what's happening as the next step. Okay. Where is it going to be published? Who is going to help market it? How is it going to be marketed? Who are we trying to get it to land into the hands of? So when it comes to creating your book's plan, there are a few sections that I think that you should consider. Essentially, it's the same sections that a formal book proposal would have in it if you were to send a formal book proposal to a literary agent for representation in the traditional marketplace for publishing. Now, even if you don't want to traditionally publish and you want to self-publish or independently publish, it doesn't mean that having a proposal is a bad way to go. A proposal is full of information about your book. It essentially is a plan for how you're going to tell the story, market the story, and sell the story. So I'm not calling a proposal in this video because I want it to be more broad for those of you who are not intending on going the formal traditional publishing route. And I want you to see it instead as your plan for your book to help you get it done at the end of the day and have a really solid product and a good plan forward for marketing, promotion, and selling. So here are the things that should be in your book plan, okay? Number one, an overview, a synopsis. What exactly is the high-level summary of what happens in your book? Think of it kind of like what you read on the back cover of a book that describes what the book is about. You should also have your bio and why you're the right person to be telling the story, as well as the relevancy of the story. Why now? And what is it going to offer to readers that we need out there in the world? You will also want to identify who your reader is, who's the primary market for your book. Who are you going to be selling your book to? The person who's going to be picking it up off the shelf. Who are they? And why do they care about this work? You're going to want to talk about what other books your book is like or different from so that you understand your place in the market. You're also going to want to include in there how you plan to build a platform or market your book in a promotional way to get it into the hands of those readers that you've already identified. And the other thing that you want in your book's plan is you want your table of contents and chapter abstracts. little mini paragraphs that describe what's going to happen in each table of contents. I would take this one step further to say that having a outline of how the story is going to be told, not a table of contents necessarily, but an actual outline of how the story unfolds from a perspective of the story arc, which is that handy little thing that we talk about way back in the day and in elementary school and high school. The story arc is basically the curve at which the story is told, right? There's something that's normal, and then something changes, and then there's rising action and a climax, and then it dips down into the new resolution. That's the story arc. Having an understanding of how your book follows a story arc, if it's a fiction book or memoir, something with a traditional narrative, then that's going to be really important. If it's a business book or something that's a little bit more straightforward, then the organization and the outline of that book is really going to be more about what makes the most sense for the way to maneuver the material and make it accessible to your reader. And so there, a table of contents and chapter abstracts should really be all that you need. So these are the handful of points that you should have in your plan when you are thinking about writing a book. Now, in the next videos that you're going to see alongside this one, you're going to see building off of these ideas, exploring your idea when you're just first getting started, knowing your reader, knowing your why, knowing what your story is about. So what I would encourage you to do, if you're interested in this video, you're interested in getting started, you don't care about my cat meowing in the background, and you think I'm pretty cool, I want you to head over to therightplacerightTime.com and grab the new freebie. I've also put the link down in the description of the video.